everyone. Again, another episode today with a special friend, ex-teammate, and I have really very special memories from him, and he's in Spain. So, Ignacio Aldama, how are you today?
Good. Thanks a lot, Julio, for inviting me. To me, it's very special to meet you again after several years.
Yeah.
And because I'm a public speaker, sometimes I have events. I go to the university. I have public events, but it's kind of my first podcast. So you can see, not super prepared, not like you, super professional. And my
No
house a
problem.
little bit
No
crowded.
problem.
So each one is doing other things in the other room. So I did what I can in order to prepare
It,
the podcast. At least a quiet room.
it's quite okay. Don't worry about that. It's very special. I mean, it's been 17 years, right? 17 years since we worked together.
Mhm.
We were part of the technical division in a big telecom operator, and we were really a good team. I mean, I really have good memories from there that we're going to go through some of the events. And yeah, it's very special. So thank you for being here today also. So for the ones that don't know you, Ignacio, how will you describe yourself? I mean, since your journey, how you became, product manager in a big brand, representing a country also today. How
Yeah,
did it all start for you?
I'm working currently here at Parker Enterprise. Okay, I work at the worldwide level, and I have been very lucky, in fact, because I started in Spain, kind of software development, and I have been offering opportunities to do more and more. Like I was doing, like working for Telefonica, doing advising, then pre-sales, and then worldwide pre-sales, and then product management, software engineer, and now on top of the product management role, I also do some kind of evangelization because I'm those sort of rare people that not only like the technical side and talking the keywords, but I also like to express them and like talk in the natural way. I like that these people that says if you talk like a normal people, there are two benefits. Normal people understand you, and the technical people understand you. You talk like a technical people, sometimes not even the technical people understands. And sometimes that's what I'm doing that and
No, no
helping them.
problem, no problem. So, Ignacio, I mean, you started this, a very long time. You are a great engineer and technical person with high knowledge in many parts of projects. How you evolve in all this, and what is your passion in technology?
Very good question. Very good question. So I started all this journey when I was deciding what to do. You know, there is a moment in your life when you are like 18 or 17 and you're asked what you are going to do for the rest
Yeah,
of your life,
yeah,
right? What are you going to study? This
yes,
question everyone faces at the moment in time, right? And at that moment in time, I was like 80% of the people I know, okay, I guess 80% or 90% of the people in the world, like I didn't have an idea, a clear idea. I didn't want to be kind of like a teacher or doctor that these things you understand very well what they do, right? Because
yeah,
you are in the classes and you are with the doctor, so you know what they are doing at work. Okay. So I keep asking people, what do you do at work? And curiously, most of the people couldn't answer that question properly. Okay, not concise. So I was not
yeah,
understanding what they were doing, and the
yeah,
names of the signatures and lectures they were meaningless at that moment in time, at least. Okay, you're going to start algebra, and what I'm going to do with algebra later. That's what mattered to me. And the only person that was able to explain was my uncle. He was saying an engineer, it's someone that is thinking how to solve a problem. The problem can be I want to communicate with Africa because I want to bring medicine there. I
yeah,
want to optimize an engine to be more efficient and consume less energy, or I want to do a software algorithm that goes faster. Or even I need to deliver medicine during COVID and I don't know how and there are logistic issues. So there are many ways of engineering things, not all even pure technical. I say, I like that, like this kind of problem solving thing. I love it. So say, okay, something about engineering. And there were like 10 of them. I say, okay, nothing with drawing because I was very bad at drawing and I'm still worse at drawing, but it does not matter. So
Right.
I studied telecommunications.
Yeah.
And then after all, there was the .com like explosion, and I was precisely on the downtime, so it was not easy to enter into the market. So I started in a consulting company in Accenture, doing
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
almost everything. Okay, because you know how these consulting companies they work, especially as the first job. And then I got the opportunity to enter in HPE. Okay, and it was more software focused, more concrete with telecommunication, more related to what I study. I say, okay, let's take the opportunity. And since now on, I have been doing several works inside of the company. And to me, it has been like changing job inside of the same company. So doing even interviews and looking for something sometimes or getting offer, but within the same company. Okay. And one of the best thing like I like, okay, is like this ability that the technology has to transform the society. I really like if you have phones, you communicate differently. Before everyone was writing cards, right? Like postal letters, okay?
Yeah.
And now you are WhatsApping or you are video calling like you and me are doing right now, right? And it has goods and bad, and it changes the way you do. You were used to wait for news. You need to be more concise, more precise. Now you can write whatever on the WhatsApp because you have the chance to repeat, right? Has good is more instant and maybe less quality. That depends. Okay, so it's not necessarily good and bad. And we have more and more pieces in our society. We have more medicine, more engines, more material, more software, even more money. And with that, we are taking the bricks and we are building more and more things. So the people are saying, oh, changes are more rapid or like faster than it used to be. And it's normal because we have more pieces and we are now combining the pieces. So we are getting new things faster and faster, which is good.
Would you say that technology evolved to a certain way and sometimes is not fully optimized or well used, or sometimes misused in a way that instead of moving the path forward in a positive way, we are going to the other side?
Always.
Yeah.
Many people complains around that, and the typical example is social media. This thing we are doing right now, right? So in social media, it's misused, can be fake news that you cannot trust. But this has been done since fire or weapons, knives were invented. So you can use a knife to prepare your dinner to your kids, or you can use knife to kill someone. And everyone has knife at home. Okay, and we have cars that you can use to go to a robbery, to escape the country in plane, so you cannot be caught on your own country. And now we have internet, connectivity, and social media. So the question is, what we do with the technology in our society? Okay, and that's one of my passions. Like learn how these things are done, also the intrinsics, and then how they are applied. Okay, and at my level, I try to do my best to apply in the best way possible. And one of the things I like, and I'm going to take back the question to you, is you were asking me, what are you passionate, right, at work?
Yeah.
And this is one of the things I like. But I learned something on a book that I really recommend everyone when I tell you this. One of my favorite this story that is Finding Your Element. It's a book from Ken Robinson.
Okay.
And this American writer says, what is more important in your life is what passionates you, because that drives you till the end of the day. You may need to do tons of things through the day, even through the week, even through the month. You need to go on shopping, you need to clean, you need to dress, you need to work, you need to stand up in front of people you don't want to, you need to make money, you need to cook, lots of things. But there are few things that you really like. Okay, like watch a specific movie, go to an event, painting, talking, problem solving, whatever, right? And those things like keep you moving because, I want to do this and I need to do all the things before, right? Before I reach that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And curiously, this guy, when he wrote the book, many Americans, especially Americans, but for other countries as well, write back to him and say, you are right, but I don't know what I'm passionate about. Because passion is something like you do something, like you start a book a very good book, you start reading, and you say, "Oh fuck, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. I need to go to sleep," and you
Yeah,
didn't notice that 4 hours passed.
yeah,
That's where you really passionate, you really like
yeah,
something. It's not like you are watching a movie and you can stop in the middle and just go to sleep or like finish
yeah,
your work. No, no,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So, throwing the question back, what are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about many things. Some of the things going to be controversial, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Yeah, you already know me, so yeah. So I am passionate about technology. I am passionate about empowering positive impact. I am passionate about sustainability and creating or trying to creating better better world for future generations. So this is really my deep passions that I'm involved with. In all of them, I created a lot of links. One of them was you. When we were in this telecom operator, we were. I had to mention some names. We really were a good team. I always kept in my heart the involvement of those times. I never forgot them, and I always kept that with me because it never happened again. I'm sorry about current team. I mean, it took me almost 17 years to get a good team, the one I have today. But still, from many point of views, the environment, the way we were evolving, the friendship, everything else back then, it was really special. I like to thank Anka and Daniel for putting us all together. They are really cracks on profiling, and they really did a good job, man. They got us all putting together, working as a bunch, and it was amazing. Me, you, David, uh, and some other people that were in the team. We did great things all together. Some of the things for you to know, you might not know, they were used after in knowledge in other telecom operators. Maybe you didn't know that. Some of our developments that we did all together there serve as an example in some areas of other telecom operators. The telecom operator where you worked in that year became top number one in customer service in the country. The team itself could solve critical problems in less than SLA times. And I'm going to mention some of the things that were special. Why it was special? Because we're all autonomous. We all knew what it has to be done. We didn't know, we didn't have to hear it from someone what we need to do. And we all knew how to work as a team and work all together simultaneously. And this is very hard to do. So for me, all this became very, very special, and I always kept it. It was a very special moment for me, and we did many, many things. We evolved a lot of technologies. We developed a lot of things. We did for people to know the technical people and non-technical. I explain it in more in detail. We were sometimes doing in hot plug development and admin the actual disks and an EVA 6000 in hot plugging on production, and sometimes coming from lunch after a chupito. For the ones who don't know what is chupito, is a fire water that we actually have after lunch. And sometimes we had on duty calls, at between. So we were sometimes had to take one or two coffees before going in, and we just did it. We all got together, and I remember, for example, the data center migration. The whole team. We were all on the restaurant for people to understand the situation. We were on the restaurant. We all drank. It was off our duty. because we have in the summertime casual Fridays, so we finish usually at 3 p.m. So after 3 p.m. we go out for lunch, and we had some drinks that day, really, and we some of us really went too far, and we had to have some coffees, So I had three, but I know someone that had five, and and we went all back to work, and we started a data center migration, and there was no mistakes, there was no problems, and everything was hot plugged directly to production. It means that we do mistake, it affects the business and all the customers they are connected with. So people can say, in the end, whatever they want. It might be not orthodox work, but we all knew what we need to do, and we are very responsible. Doesn't matter the situation, and we proved that. I mean, we done that data center migration, and then we were up almost 40 hours in the conf call in that room, connecting with all the divisions, and we did it all in 40 hours. So if I have to tell you, in the last 18 years, did I actually met other team like this? Never, never. I've done several other data center migrations in different countries after that. It was never the same. We never done it in 40 hours. Sometimes it took weeks. Sometimes we need to bypass or even pause the timelines. Sometimes we had to even stall the actual migration. Sometimes the people were even afraid of doing migrations in not plugging, because they want always to be super sure of having a different environment for testing, etc. And I explained them, I'm not putting medals on me, but me and other people that were working with me, we had not such environment. I mean, in some places we had additional servers, but in some others, it was the production server only. So that's how we learn to handle the pressure, the stress, the daily basis work, what we were doing, the good environment. I still remember once on that migration, there was this guy saying, in the middle of the migration after lunch, to say, we cannot reach a server because there was a communication problem. The guy said, well, I can see the legs of a port. And the other guy says, are they beautiful? Can you talk them?
Yes, yes.
So I mean, those moments, man, I never had them again. And and you,
me
of course,
also
you're part of
looking
the
back,
moment.
I have some moments like that. Thanks in other teams. That's one of the reasons I have been keeping in HP for so long. Okay, I still have some of those, and it's like, to me, I can summarize in confidence or trust, right? If there are some people you can trust, so you can be yourself, and you don't need to be pretending or doing something, and you can even tell the people, we are going to do this, and we don't know if it's going to work or not, but we are going to try anyway, and if it fails, we try to solve it. Okay, and we were lucky. One of the things you were mentioning is like, we were trusting each other, and we were ultra competent. So that combination is very difficult, because typically you have trust people that maybe they are not super skilled, or skilled people that you cannot trust or not fully trust. I mean, you cannot be yourself with them. You need to be manager, employee, manager, or even worker, but like from different divisions. You cannot be like kind of friends, right? But you have the two things together, especially the trust. You work better. I have even the experience. I always tell, in some experience at work, I put Steve Jobs as an example of, you can achieve good things and you're a crap person. Okay. I want to kill you. Okay. And I got an amazing experience with one guy out of FP, formal profession here in Spain. If you don't go to university for years degree, you can do 2 years only, right? Shorter period. So less education, sometimes perceived as you are less intelligent, or I don't know, less prepared. This guy was out of their first job, okay, and he was not amazing guy. He is not still an amazing guy. It's not a guy that you say, here is AI, do something. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
that guy. Okay, he's a guy that go do the things step by step, slowly. Sometimes I was saying, I do this in 2 days. I'm going to let him do in 2 weeks, and it was more than that sometimes. Okay, and they start point like tasks that were new for him, but this guy is super solid. So once he learns something, he continue doing it, and he never complains. I don't know this. This thing is new. He always was approaching the thing like, oh, you're asking me. This is the first time I do it, so it may take time. I'm going to tell you. It's difficult to me to evaluate. I'm going to do it and tell you if it's going well or not. He was doing that all the time, despite if the situation is stressful or is calm or is new or is something new, and it's amazing up to the point that when, for example, I was teaching him to search in ChatGPT and in Google, when at the moment that ChatGPT was kind of initiating, like you need to get educated to search in both to get most result and things like that. And he was doing that. And at a moment in time, we were stuck with a problem, 2 weeks trying to debug with me, with an expert, and even with him. And he was coming saying, hey, I'm doing this thing you are selling on ChatGPT, and I got one suggestion asking in a strange way. Say, maybe we should try this. And he was right. And I say, good, Mateo, you have level up. So because he was slowly doing the things you tell, and he keep repeating, and he got good. Okay? Because it's those guys that keep doing the thing and get better and better slowly, maybe super slow if you are fast or super efficient, but it's like the turtle, this tail of the turtle and the conejo, no sé cómo se dice, okay, that one goes very fast and the other goes very slow, but the other keeps sleeping, and then the turtle goes and finishes the lane. So same thing. Amazing.
It's I mean it was as you said, it was very remarking and touching at the same time, because when you find that compassionation, that you fully trust the people on your left and on your right and everyone that work with you, and you on top of that you have a good friendship, it's really amazing. I mean, for people who don't know what that is, I can tell you that it is an awesome thing. It was like you don't even feel like being at home. You want to be in work, to be with everyone, and that's the feeling, and it's very hard to find. It's unfortunately, I don't know what happened. Maybe it is the degrading of education. Maybe it is society. It's many factors can be.
No,
but
is that you were lucky to have that in the first time. Because I have been talking to people precisely around this, and one old fellow, the one that hired me, like 17 years ago, 16 years ago in HP, he left, okay, recently, and he also put together a nice team, and he was doing the most pro thing I'm proud in HP is putting the group together and work in the same way that you're saying, okay, because we are teach every day to develop skills, to do things, to be more efficient. But we are very rarely teach or even exercise how to build trust. Neither talking about how to build friendship. Okay? And that's what makes the thing, because the skills you can learn, but the trust is something else. Okay? And there are not too many courses about how you do that. Okay? Exactly. Simon Sinek, that is one of these guys that talk about this, he says, you can have the super high skill guy and the super trustfully, okay? Which one would you put as a manager or responsible? The trust one. Because the other you cannot trust, even if it's good or not, you don't know what's going to happen. So it will be the trust one, even if it's not as skillful or is even kind of skillless, because he can build on that. Yeah. Especially if you can trust him, you know that he will build up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It in the end it goes back to that, and I mean, and for people who haven't experienced that, I can tell that it's very insightful, because either person in the group is expertise in something specific, and in the end is a shared knowledge every day, because every day always something happens, and in the end is shareable knowledge, and it's insightful for everyone because everyone learns with everyone. And this is one of the most amazing scenes we also had. In the end, we learned a bit about everything from everyone, and it's very insightful. I mean, you feel joy, doing it. I mean, the environment that we had on the team and everything was amazing. It's even hard to describe. I wanted to share with you back then also some pictures that we had 18 years ago, and it was on the Christmas party on the same year that we did that data center migration. So I'll thought you just want some of them.
Looking forward to that. Oh man.
So you remember?
You are the same. You are the same. You just need to put red color again on your hair,
Yeah,
and
the
red, same.
Yeah. So that's me and David. Here you are.
No one believes it, but that's me. Long hair.
Here we are together.
Together.
Oh my God. 18 years, man. 18 years have passed. So this is me and David again. Me and David. With Angel and David.
You should invite him to the podcast as well. See what Angel remembers from those days.
Here is you and Angel.
Yes.
For the people who don't know, they actually work together now on HP.
Yes. I'm lucky. I'm still working with Angel. Angel is one of the best managers in the world.
He's really amazing. He's really amazing person.
David and Carlos.
Me and David. Here is you again. It's not
me.
but it was depending on the circumstances. Everyone had a few drinks more, and here you again. So it's just a bit of the memories that we had back then. And for people who don't know, it was not mobile phone because it didn't exist yet with camera. So everything was with the digital camera, first version that the digital camera was, and with I think it was 26 or 52 megabytes of RAM on the card. So I needed to have 4 cards to make all these pictures. So I was swapping the cards all night. And there was David asking, "What are you doing, man? You're always swapping the cards. Yeah, it's full already. I need to."
Yeah.
It was really amazing.
And related to all these memories that we are saying, this is something that I discovered and I want to share. Like you said me, oh, you are going to be on a podcast, and I was like searching for some time how to share this. I was saying okay, and I was saying who I can talk that they communicate these things, because I discovered very recently, like many people. Okay, you did on this podcast right at the start say, how do you do? Okay, so many people in your life say, how do you? You hear that every day, right? But I made this question to several people, and I'm going to make to you. How many people in your life has asked this question to you, Julio? How do you feel?
Not many. I think it's a bit controversial question. You put me
It
on the
is.
spotlight, yeah. But to be honest, not many. I might have in my life maybe 3 or 4 people that I can count with, remember, that actually asks me every day how I am. So yes, I mean, in the end, it's not that it's very matterful for me, because I mean, in the end, it's a daily based life, and I'm not like resent for people not ask me how I am. I mean, for me, it doesn't really matter. But of course, what I always say to people is, before you start a conversation, always ask, "How are you?" At least you get that good start with the other person, because the other person feels that it matters. It matters to know how are you, how you feel.
I do agree.
What is your feeling that precise moment when we start the conversation?
I
and
do
this,
agree with that. I do the same. Okay, I
yeah,
do the how do you do thing, but I discovered kind of this kind of question and something else that came just after. Okay, and it's like I have been asking this question because it bugs me like to more than 100 people. Okay, and the average people said they have been asked how do you feel once for one only one person. So you're already lucky. Okay, some people zero. No one in my whole life has asked me this. But what is more disturbing to me, because I have 3 kids now, okay, 3 small ladies, okay, 2 twins of
congratulations.
8 and one from 12, and I was saying, okay, how I do teach them things like to be like better adults, okay, as
Yeah,
we were saying
yeah,
at the start.
yeah,
And if you ask this question, or even worse, if you are asked this question after going to school, primary school, high school,
yeah,
university, tech talks, YouTube,
yeah,
TikTok, reading
yeah,
books, who the hell has teach you how to answer that question?
yeah, yeah.
Because
In the end, that's really the main reason that they will always have in their minds, because they know it was you. So, and this is what we actually recommending for several years, this podcast, for people to have that kind of mindset. Other people matter. It's always good, and it looks good to you also. Just asking the other person, "Hey, how are you? How do you feel? How was your day? How was your week?" Because sometimes you don't talk with the person every day, so you got to the end of the week and say, "Hey, how was your week, man? How was it? And you open the conversation, because for some people that week might be terrible, some have been good, and you open up a conversation, and the other person will always remember that, because he knows there's someone that actually cares about the person itself. And this is what I call main value of humanization, because in the end we're all human beings, and if we are all heartfully by each other and care about the society itself around us, we are already creating a positive impact, because yeah, we are carrying um, a way that people know there's caring. It's not about people don't care about each other. No, I mean, if you share that with other people, people share that with other people too, because they feel it. So when you feel it, you also transmitting that to other people around you. And
mm,
this is the main importance that is being lost, special because of social media and social networks. People became more aparted from each other. And of course, COVID didn't help. Most people back then were doing everything on remote. So
I
that,
have kind of mixed feelings what you're saying. Some people are
yeah,
saying it's easy to say, oh, social media is the bad, okay, but it also brings good things. I see on my own children, okay, so in one way you get more trapped, okay, like you spend 2 hours watching TikToks, even adults, and you don't know what's going on, and you lost track of time, and you are maybe have even less, like you are less inclined to talk to the people on the phone or to hang out, okay, but you also learn things, okay. What is a little bit more lost is you can learn more things about how to express, how to find things, how to reconstruct your life if you are in deep sea. Okay, you can find other people. Okay, you can communicate to others if your abilities are not talking. Okay, I love to talk. Okay, and I have been polishing the abilities because I was not good at the start.
yeah,
Okay, but if you are not good at talking and maybe you are good at writing, you have an alternative. Okay, that's one of the things that came with Tinder. I have some friends that before Tinder they were almost unable to interact with girls because they were so nervous to talk
yeah,
that
yeah,
either they were completely drunk, also unable to talk, or they cannot talk. So they cannot talk one way or the other. And at
yeah,
least writing, they had some chance to start even to meet in a place that was not drinking and have some other type of conversation and less nervous because they have already long list of chats. So
yeah,
there are always good things, as what we are saying at the start with technology. It's always of how we do it. Okay,
yeah,
it was that There was a question also very curious. I love the questions because they drive a little bit, they position how you think or how you even are going to answer the question. Okay. In Telecinco is one of these TV shows in Spain that it's kind of say putting what you will call trash on TV. Okay, so they are not like documentaries of nature and biology. No, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
this is Big Brother. What happened with the most interesting news, things like that, right?
yeah.
And,
Reality.
and, and there was an interview with the director of the TV, and they were saying, why are you not doing more quality, more education, more, I don't know, biodiversity on the TV
Yeah,
channel? Say,
yeah,
guys, it's not me, it's the audience who wants to watch that. Because if I tell you, if the audience rise 50%, if I put a documentary on how to care about nature, I put a documentary today. But I have some of those, and they don't work as well as Big Brother. So it's the people are more interested into this. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so and I that's a partial situation. So he was kind of right. But I say, why we are not doing other things more interesting, also in the same way that when we have good feelings, sometimes we struggle to express them. Why we don't make technology more accessible? Why we don't make technical things more understandable? Why we don't put content like what you are doing on this channel
Yeah,
more appropriate to the people? Because you can
yeah,
put a channel like buy my stock, it's super good, I get a commission, I get rich, and you maybe there are tons
yeah,
of those
yeah,
material, okay? But we can also together make other things, okay? And we have the good and the bad, that is broader impact. Okay, so if you do something good, it's easier to reach others. If you do something bad, it's also easier to reach others, like COVID.
yeah,
If this thing is spread out and the people they don't do the right thing, it's spread.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so things happen.
And I mean, with all this involvement, the way technology is being used, I think in the end, because there's misleading information also a lot,
Mhm.
on the internet especially, and people sometimes lack of using common sense. I mean, for example, you see a news and people just go and believe it immediately instead of let's see what other media channels say. This is just a common sense knowledge. There's the news. Okay, let's check the other one. Let's check CNN. Let's check CNBC. Let's check TVE in Spain or Antena Tres. Or so if they're all saying the same, then yes, then it can be true. Over 90% probably. But if only one says, I mean, you shouldn't believe it. In the end, it's like using common sense. I mean, obviously, depending what type of news, but usually, if it's big news, all media then will publish it, and then if you see it everywhere, then it might be legit. But still, it's still news, and we
Yeah,
have to dare the fact that most news are still not. We say there's freedom of speech, but for me, there isn't. I think most news today are very populated and maneuvered most of the times by government. And in the end, if you ask me when was the last time I watched news, I don't remember, honestly.
yeah. Pretty similar on my side, especially with the news. I try to read more than I even watch because the watch is terrible. Okay, but I think what we are, I don't know if losing or like there is not so much interest in promoting that is critical thinking. Okay,
Yeah,
because in the end is what you're saying. Compare two things and see if they match.
yeah,
See one that is in favor of this, what it says. See what's the one is in opposition of that position, what they say and what they have in common, what they have in opposition, and try to find
yeah,
the difference.
yeah,
Okay, and that's something that rarely you are taught anywhere. Okay, very rare teachers do that. Okay, I remember my wife is from Hong Kong, but he has been living here all her life, and she was studying in a school with moms, with nuns, right? So even the nuns that they were praying in one of the classes, but in the language class, when they need to review, one of the exercises they did is you read the same news in 2 newspapers and you comment the difference. They say, amazing exercise. Never in my life I have done that at school or at university. I did myself later when I grown up, but it's something like you need to discover. And if you are not like that, or your parents didn't teach it, or your environment is like that, you are being pushed, especially on the news of every country, because we can say, oh, the government is trying to control the news and kind of the way you perceive it. But this has been happening since the Romans. Hey, hello. Okay, can you imagine in the medieval age, it was even worse. Okay, so at least now we have kind of ways to contract things. Okay, to do some contracts, to do some research, and there is more opposition. So maybe all the European news are one way, but all the Asian news are different ways. And now you can translate with ChatGPT, because like even 5 years ago, you were a little bit, if you want to understand what Japan was saying about something, you cannot simply translate. And sometimes they don't even, can translate even. So that's something we have gained.
Yeah, I think that's one of many things that I think we both think that they should change the way it's being done. So going back to the journey, Ignacio, as a technical expert, and of course there's millions of people out there starting, technology sector in many ways, because for people who don't know, technology is very, very wide. I mean, basically in these days and current era, you use it everywhere. So, I mean, there's thousands of diverse expertise inside of technology. But in the end, there's always some things that have in common for all. If you have to do an advice for a recent person that just finished the degree in university and is going to start, first job, what would be your advice to this person, as in a way to have more knowledge and to know how to execute better the work daily basis?
My first advice to everyone, because I'm doing mentoring also in the STEAM program in Spain, okay, is what do you want to do? Okay, because where you want to be, what you want to do in the world, okay? Because maybe you have studied engineering or the medicine or even teacher just because, even because you think you like it, or even because your parents force you to do that, okay? There is kind of no other option. And so you are here. Every day you are here. And then you look and you say, where I want to be. You want to be president of Spain, you want to live in New York, you want to change medicine in Africa, you want just to earn money, okay? And you need to compare where you are to where you want to be. And just by doing that, you start seeing what are you lacking, okay? Maybe you are like this, you are very close, or you are already there, okay? I want money, but my father is Steve Jobs, okay? So I'm already rich, not an issue, okay? But majority of the times, you lack a lot of things. And by seeing what you are lacking, you can climb the ladder. So you say, I need to study this in order to get there. You do it. I need to meet these persons or to have this amount of money in order to start. The typical example that we do, like without thinking, is we want to buy a house. We start looking the house we want to, we see how much they cost, and then we see how much we earn, and we start calculating how much we need to save. And we either change job or change our expectations of the house. But we are not doing that with our life in general. Okay. And sometimes we say, we start this and we need to finish, and I cannot reach this. Okay. And you may not reach it. So sometimes it's impossible. You want to be president. Many people want to be even president candidate, and sometimes never be. But at least if you have the objective, you know what you need to do. And in the middle, life will go over you. Like it or not, that will happen. And that may change your direction, because as I say, you are today here, you are looking at this position. In 5 years, you will be here and you may be looking here. because you like it, because you realize this is not what you really like, because maybe you did this and you already passed, or maybe you cannot reach. This is farther and farther, and you say, okay, because it's farther and I'm not going to reach it and I want to get to somewhere, I maybe change my subject. So to me, it's where you want to go, where you are, and revisit that from time to time. Because if you don't do anything, you will be on the same place, and you say, how much I'm progressing? I'm progressing at the right speed or not? I'm doing the right things or not? I'm reaching what I want or something else? Okay, and what I want also express what you feel. It's not clear to express. Even our age, there is one, my favorite video in all YouTube is this one, this use sunscreen, right? And my favorite phrase of all the video is saying, the interesting people I know, they didn't know what to do with their lives at 30. The most interesting people I know, they still don't know what to do at the 40s. Okay, so sometimes it's not so easy. I would say majority of the times it's not so easy to say, I had a vision, I want to end world's hunger, I want to be the doctor of the neighborhood. Sometimes it's not easy as that. In fact, majority of the times you don't have that concrete vision. Like, what do you want to study? You say, okay, I want to earn money, I don't want to disappoint my parents, something that is not math related, whatever is your thought. So you have something much broader and less concrete. And as you go, you are discovering, oh, this is not exactly what I was liking. Oh, this is tougher, or this is tough, but I'm becoming better and better and I like it more. Okay, and you adjust and learn. Okay, my main philosophy in life, okay, but it can be also very much applied to work, is try and fail. Okay, because you sometimes don't know until you try. This is so true at work, most true at life. Okay, what we were saying, I always put this example. Okay, we were saying, like, I was not, when you know me, I was already kind of extrovert person. Okay, but I was not like that when I was. This is one of my favorite stories. When I was in school, not even high school, okay, like 10 years or something like that, I want to talk like the people, like to tell jokes, things like that. But I was super shy, so I was unable to do it. So when there was a break between classes, you go out to the park, and we were like sitting in a circle and we were kind of talking, right? And the people were even telling jokes, and I want to tell a joke and I never dare to tell a joke. So what I did is I took a book, because there was no internet at that time, right? I read the book, I selected a joke I think was very funny. I memorized it, the joke, and I went with the memorized joke, okay, waiting for the class break, then going into the circle, and in a conversation, you know what happens, there are some mini breaks where the people are talking and they pause, and then you can say something, okay, depending if they are very fast talkers or whatever. So I find one of those breaks and I told the joke. Imagine what? Total disaster. So the first joke you tell in public, 10 people around you, and they were my friends. No one laughed. Silence. This very awkward silence. So I was saying, okay, shut up, don't tell never a joke, like mentally thinking that I will never do that. But the story doesn't end there. 20 minutes was the class break. And it took 8 minutes, so half of it to me to get the courage, find the slot to tell the joke. 1 minute to tell the joke, more or less. And then, before the class break, so in the remaining, 6 minutes, one of the members of the circle that was 1 year older, and he's a natural, like talking, being very amiable and like super funny and super nice to everyone, talk and told the exact same joke with the exact same words, and everyone, including me, laughed a lot. And I have been already telling the joke, I know the joke by memory, and he repeated. But of course, it was not the same. The attitude was not the same. The way you're saying, I want to be like that, and I need to change something. Okay, I still didn't know exactly how to get there, because sometimes you know people that is a comedian and they are doing great and they are getting ideas like this, and you say, I want to do like this, but you are very clumsy, like with the words. So it took me another like 6 years or something like that to get there, until I didn't get to the high school, almost the end. I didn't get more kind of extrovert. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
went more and more because I like it, but it took me years. Okay. And it was not easy to me. Now, some people that knows me and I talk and say, oh, you are a natural. They say, yeah, I'm a natural because I have been 20 fucking years practicing.
That's what people miss, you know. It's a lot of years, and of course, if you practice over and over again, so in the end, it becomes natural, of course.
Yes, yes.
So,
Also,
Ignacio, how do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
very good question. I don't have an idea. This is a very good question. I don't know if I need to go and interview later. If I ask me this, I'm going to improvise something. But it's honestly speaking, in this podcast that we are friends and we can tell each other what we think, is I don't have a fucking idea. When I go with the friends, I'm going to go tonight. We always have jokes around this because we say we don't have a fucking idea what we are going to do in 5 years. We know more or less what we want to do in this year, and that's enough. Okay? Yeah. Okay. We don't know if there is going to be Taiwan war, the chips radiology, the AI is going to collapse. If the stocks is going to drop, we are going to lose the job. We fucking don't know. Okay? We know people. You know people, and I also know people that they got maybe kids, and then his wife ran away with the kids to their own country. Overnight. So overnight, your fucking whole life changed upside down. People were living in Russia, you know that very well, and they need to came back. Okay. When I was young, and this super shy, I was thinking, I don't going to have a girlfriend, not even a wife. Never ever. Okay. And I ended like marrying a person from Hong Kong living in Spain that was the only Chinese person in my whole university. Okay, so it was kind of an amazing thing. I wasn't on purpose. I didn't even plan that. It was almost like an accident at the end of the year. Okay, so I even like not to know what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years. I always make plans. What I'm going to do within the year, what I may want to do. Like, I don't know, I want to go to Japan, I want to do this, maybe learn this other. But I tend not to super plan and say, okay, let's see what happens. Okay. The longest plans I have, I guess, it has been when I was at the university, because I planned to finish the university. So that was a 4-year plan or 5-year plan. So super long. Okay. But so, I never ever had like super long.
You shared your version, so I'm going to share mine. My true version is, you are right. You don't even know what's going to happen in 30 minutes, or in 1 hour, or tomorrow. So, do we have to have plans? Yeah, we should. We're supposed to have a timeline, organization, future planning. How we're supposed to go. But of course, you need to have a very high skill together with it, which is called improvisation. Because those plans, over 90% are going to change. So it goes back to that, right? So everyone's supposed to be always ready. Yes, you need to organize your life to have a path, to have a light where you want to go. But you're also supposed to be aware that all those plans of your trajectory might change tomorrow, or the next week, or in 1 hour. So you need to have that improvisation skill up and running, to have option B, option C, option D, and then you decide which has more common sense to go. It's not even, no, I'm going to thoroughly quantify a timeline that is going to work to achieve my goal. That's not going to happen. So I never said this in public, but this is the true reality. It's like we're doing a migration, right? We plan the migration, data center migration. We're talking about dozens of thousands of servers that need to be migrated from one point to the other point, sometimes even to another country, right? So we have a timeline. And what is the common in all of these? That if you are a good PMO or a good project manager or director in it, you always know nothing what is planned is going to happen. And there is always hundreds of different options in place. If it happens this, we do that. If it happens that, we do that. If it happens this, we do that. And this is the reality. And this is the side thing that people who are not really deep into the core of technology, or maybe missing this side of the point, and even the reality of things, is that nothing ever goes according to plan. Ever. Ever.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen. You're supposed to be organized, to have plans, to have timelines, but also you're supposed to have a bilateral timeline of called improvisation, which means that don't panic, because you have to have in your mind that something will happen in some point. It will. Believe me, it will happen. I mean, how many problems we had every day with technical problems? It was
Yes,
applications
yes, yes.
or power cuts
Yes.
or
And
disks
and you need
or
to have a plan. I also say, like,
yeah,
I don't know where I'm going to be, but I have a plan. Okay,
yeah,
because you're right. If you don't have a plan, everything go worse, even
yes,
worse. And
yeah,
basically, what you're saying is you have a plan and you have several plans, right?
yeah,
And then when something breaks out, even all the plans, like,
yeah,
you need to make up a plan on the fly. Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we are doing that all the time. Sometimes we don't notice, like, you go to school, you do something, or some people say something, you need to react. You are at work, there is a situation, you get fired, you get hired. Okay, you go to a lady, you plan in your mind what do you want to say to this lady. You start the phrases, and the moment you start, the phrases already go in a different direction, and
yeah,
her expression
yeah,
change the flow for good or
yeah,
for bad. Okay, so that happens, and we are all already doing. It's a matter of keep track of that and learning. Okay, something I do, depending on any plan, is I try to keep track. Okay, when we were saying we are going to be, I have always like a calendar of the full year. Okay, and I'm checking, okay, when I'm going to do things like that. I'm going to do this work, and I'm going to meet people, and at the end of the year, I typically have a look what I have done during the year, because I like also to measure, like, I have these intentions even for
yeah,
personal life. I want
yeah,
to meet more my friends, and then you discover, I don't know, 3 months later or even a year later, like, even if you wish to meet your friends, you have been prioritizing, I don't know, work, and say,
yeah,
no, I need to work, no, I need to do this, no, I need to finish. And you say, I have met them 4 times in the year, and say, just because I was saying no by work or no by family or whatever. And one of the things I want most is to meet them more. So the next year I say, I'm going to meet them more no matter what. And I was prioritizing and then measuring and say, how many times we have been meeting? Okay, we have met like 20 times. Good. I did, I did what I was planning better this time, for example.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
easy, as you mentioned, to get into the details. And I always says, like, what do you want to do with your life? And most of the times, many people say, I don't have time. I love that expression. Sometimes I even use it. Okay, so
yeah,
we are
yeah,
very used to that. But the truth is, the day is always the same, 24 hours a day, never change. So it's
yeah,
up to you to decide what you will do with the time you are given.
yeah, yeah. And also enjoy the time, which is something that I'm also putting in public for the first time, because it's with you, man. This is, for me, it's special conversation. And I missed a lot of things in life. I did, because maybe I was too ambitious. Maybe I was young also. Because I was like 20, 28, 28, 29 year old, maybe 30 when we were working together. I mean, back then is that age that I had always a sense. Of course, I was always responsible, but very flying away. It's like, I don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's have a party today. because tomorrow we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
And I guess that kind of concept, if you um, plan to have something or someone around you, it becomes complicated because when you try to have, for example, a serious relationship, you have to be more steady. I wanted to travel a lot, so it becomes already, uncomfortable situation. And I did, I did, after our journey together, the total where I've been, it's 51 countries now. I've been in 51 countries since the last time we worked together. So,
Yeah, quite a
uh,
lot.
and in the end, that's all it is. It's the way I am. I cannot change that. I did change a lot already comparing what I was back then, but I'm still euphoric. I'm a very euphoric person. I'm always on fire. I'm always looking for something new. I always like to rediscover or whatever's out there that can be transformed or making a lot of transformations. I actually did a lot of transformation in technology. I didn't mention this. I have 4 products that actually have patents already. One of them is in cryptography. One of them is meant as a technology to expose or show to a specific person how we classify documents, for example, and you can do it securely online, which back then was not possible. We have such technology already. I also did a lot of transformations the way cryptography works. We actually have a patent for a single cryptography unique in the world. I combined Cha-Cha and AES working together, and we built 8 processors. So the time that for example, you want to compress, I don't know, maybe we did several tests already. For example, we packed 100 giga folder of documents, and it took us exactly 25 seconds to encrypt it all and package it. So it's a significant
Very
transformation
simple.
that was not on the market. And not only that, we made it insufflate, which was not also inside the technology. So as you encrypt, you insufflate the contents of what you're encrypting, and you're decreasing also the size. So from the 1 gig after the package were all fully packed, it became from 1 giga to 200 megs, and
Interesting.
it's like all in one. Why I came so deep in it? Because I mean, I studied a lot of encryption, cryptography, so I became so we need to make it elastic, and that was my concept. The cryptography was okay, it's secure, but it's very stopped. We need to put some elasticity in there. And how we do that? Well, we combine with Chacha. Is that even possible? The first time a person asked me, is that even possible to combine 2 encryption protocols working together? I said yes, and I showed that it's the videos are online. I'll share with you afterwards, and
Super,
it's
super.
all public. I mean, it's really unique technology, and this is goes back to the concept of if there is anything out there that I can see that I can change, I will definitely do that at try. And that will always be my passion, in trying always with this, trying to achieve a better positive impact, the way people view things or work or even use the knowledge in many other things, because this knowledge can even be used in many other areas. And I knew I contribute to that, you know. And for me, it's heartfelt. Really, I feel really good that I know that I've made a lot of, sense of brand um, in the society, that I at least I contributed, some positivity in many factors. I mean, I contributed in sustainability, in technology, in cybersecurity, in energy, in analytics. So, in the end, it's all about the focus, as you mentioned. What do you want to do and what do you want to get? So, For me, that is very, very, very wide. You know, if you ask me, what do you want to do, where you want to go, I don't know, but I'll follow everything. You know, so I'm like that. You know, I don't limit myself to follow one path. I follow 8, 9 paths equally at the same
I
time.
know, I know. You are very special. The people that don't know you, let me share that. Like there are people that they can do one thing at a time. There are people that can do half thing at a time, and there are people that can do three things at a time. But you are one of those that can do 10 things. Okay, I'm progress because something that is amazing on you, and that is very special because that means one of the hardest
Thank you.
things to
Thank
find
you.
is like to keep doing, keep pushing, because there are people that start things. Everyone start things. I want to learn a new language. I want to get up early. I want to finish career, whatever. And sometimes they even try to once or twice. But you are trying 10 things at the same time, and you normally finish the 10. Okay, and that implies keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and that's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing because in my whole life, similar to the question like how many people, if I need to count, what are the people that keep pushing and finish everything or majority of the things they do? Very, very, very little. Even myself, that I'm a believer of this, there are few things that I say, okay, put a stop to this and I continue other time or leftover or pause for a while. Okay, so you are super hard at that. Like that's why you are achieving so many things. And one of the things you are saying, you're expressing is like you are proud because you know it's super difficult to get there, and you know even comparing to others that same people are starting in different positions that you even ahead because they don't keep pushing. They lose time, and you can do the thing in half the time because you keep pushing. Okay, that's
But
something I try
in
also
the
to teach to my
but
kids. It's
in
like
the end, you
keep
know why
trying.
I have that mindset. It's because for me, I always have in my mindset is nothing is impossible.
Yeah,
You know, especially in technology, it's
yeah.
not. You know,
Mhm.
because we had many side steps. I mean, you and me, we know we lived a lot of things that at that precise moment we didn't know how to solve it. Right? And it's normal. I mean, we're talking about reality. We're not talking about fantasy here. So we did had hundreds, maybe thousands of things that we had to solve within 1 year or 1 year and a half. And on the beginning, we know that we're gonna solve it, but we didn't have even not even a remote solution. How we're gonna solve it, but we did. In the end, it's the mindset. You know, it's technology. We start one by one and saying nothing is impossible. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't give the correct message. Well, it doesn't matter. We change the message. We get into the core of the system, and we change. You know, because people need to understand technology is very diverse, and what is developed at that moment is developed for maybe certain thousands of situations, but there are exceptions, and those exceptions are not in the system. And that's when the struggle comes in because you need to work with the system, put those conditions inside the system, and then put your upgrading and whatever development you put it in. And for people, I'm not talking about fantasy. We usually done 4 or 5 developments per day, hot plugged in production, and I never saw this ever in my life ever again. Just for people to know, me and Ignacio here, especially him because he was really on developing, you know, many side steps of technology. We are doing this daily basis. So I mean, people say, "How you handle the stress?" There's no stress, man. You know, let's go over the window already because we are constantly on stress and pressure because we were working directly on production, you know, all the time. And with that thing that you know you cannot do a mistake, you know when you press the button enter, he has to be perfect.
You know
And
you are going
how
to
many
work
times,
some other hours to fix it, so then it works.
but how many times I was like putting button pressure with my crossed fingers, you know.
But
So
that attitude is what matters. I was able to repeat that. It's difficult, I know, but like twice or three times I got teams where I was able to do that. When we were doing, we created a software that is called NFV Director, right? It's from NFV Technology,
yeah,
and it doesn't matter if the people knows what it is or not. What matters is I I was called and said, okay, we need an architect to create a product about NFV, and I say, okay. What is NFV about? I say, do you want to the job or not? They say, okay, yes. And then we were starting, literally three people, me and two other friends. And at that time, we were searching in Google NFV, what it is. 0.0 result. Never ever happened to me this. Never again. Okay?
yeah,
With any subject. 0.0 result. One of my colleagues later wrote the Wikipedia page in Spanish and Portuguese of NFV, the
okay,
entry of Wikipedia, because there was no entry. Okay? And with all that information, we started to work. And it was lots of fun because we had lots of unknowns and we were still developing things. And then, of course, correcting some things on the fly and learning a lot. It was amazing time. I really remember because we were doing kind of drawings literally on a piece of paper in the cafeteria and then coming back to the laptop to try it.
yeah, yeah.
Lots
Amazing,
of fun.
amazing. So, I mean, for me, that experience, that really overpassed because on my future projects after that, we always had the development environment, the pre-production environment, and the production environment. And I was saying, people were looking at me like, "Oh my God, this guy is really, like weird." I said, "That's so boring, man." It's like, why don't we work on production direct? He said, "What are you talking about?" I'm talking about what it is. For almost 2.5 years, we worked directly on production and did hundreds of developments directly on production.
It's faster, a little bit more risky, but it's faster. No one can deny that. Faster to break it, faster to fix it. Like it or not.
It was really amazing. I remember hundreds of moments back then that I could never forget. The stressful moments of pressing the enter button.
And from time to time that happens. I also remember we were one thing, even with production, pre-production and things like that and testing environment, there was a high urgency for a defect in an operator. I am not going to tell the name. And they say, we need to fix it today. And they say, you need to do the change in production. And of course, the team was saying, hey, but should we test it before? I say, no, we trust you. But this is super horrible. We are kind of losing traffic. I don't remember what was the exact problem. So you need to do it now in production directly because we cannot lose more time. So even in super organized, sometimes there are crises and you need to do it. I remember doing that change. And one of the things we already have jokes around it is I did the change of production. And because of the stress and all that, one of the logs and kind of the names of the classes, I put not the correct orthography. So it was the words were not well spelled out. Okay, so and the logs are still there. And sometimes when we do, I say no one is still corrected that because it's still working. It's just like the spelling is not good because I was doing like fast lightning. So it's working, but the spelling is super bad.
Amazing. Yeah. And I had one experience once. I'm not going to mention names or the client or whatever. That supposedly also, I mean, this happens also in history and reality. A person actually thought once that deleting a library from the operating system and replacing it would actually solve the problem. So I'm gonna, for people who actually know what we're talking about, it's something that you get a hammer on your hand, even thinking about it. I mean, it will never work. You should never touch a library. You should never swap it. You should never even do a restore with previous version from the actual version from the operating system. And it is what it is. So I actually prevented disaster once because someone was actually trying to replace a library and it was even a special system, which is Solaris, which you know how it is.
Crazy.
And it was trying to replace a library for the other because there was a log saying that that library was misfunctioned.
My goodness. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, very crazy. This is like, I don't know, you had the car and seeing it, the engine is not starting because it's going to explode, and you say, okay, I hammer the engine until this goes off and I start again, something like that. This is the equivalent.
yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, during our journey, I mean, we have many stories. I think we find, almost from everything. But I guess it all comes back from the base, right? I mean, we really achieved a lot of experience when we work all together because we faced many circumstances, right? I mean, there was even circumstances that we passed and we solved it, and not even a manufacturer would knew how to solve that specific situation. Believe me, I mean, you remember this happened. You know, we also had a situation that this one I'm going to tell, which was like we had a big disk library. Go. We're not going to mention the model or anything. It usually has two arms, and one arm broke down. It means that during that stage, it's working only with one. And if that library actually stopped working, the whole company will stop. And this was back then. I'm not sure if you remember that phase. So that was me and Angel. This was with Angel. We went there, and we were all morning with crossed fingers saying the part we will arrive in time. The part we will arrive in time, and we knew, because we were trying to make that everything is natural, everything is normal. We were having phone calls from everyone. Everything is okay. Yeah, it's wonderful. While we actually knew that if anything happened to the other arm, everything will stop. So, I mean, it's those kind of experience that you are not taught anywhere. I mean, once you pass through them, then you know what is the reality, how to overcome that, and of course, how to handle the stress around it also, because in the end, so many situations, you really learn how to overpass that pressure or the stress. So it becomes a point, you don't feel anything, actually. I mean, honestly, I mean, I think after 10 months that we're working together, I didn't have stress at all anymore because it was so many situations one after the other, and we're always solving.
You were used to that, right?
People say, what was the stress? I don't remember even, yeah.
So, Julio, like we are coming to an end also because I have three ladies that they are probably saying, "Hey, when are we going? What are we going to have for dinner?" The favorite question after what are we going to have after lunch, and after what are we going to have after breakfast. So I will need to close like
yeah.
But
So
me, it has been very special. Thanks for inviting me to the podcast. To me, it has been kind of a rejoin after the conversation we had before the podcast. So super nice to talk to you. Okay, a pleasure.
Me too.
Okay, remember, next time you came to Madrid, we go out.
Yes, for sure. So just one last thing that I usually find and ask all the guests. So before we finish, I always ask my guests to say a power message. What will be your power message today?
Tricky. I'm going to say what I say at home. I typically say this almost every day. Sometimes it works, sometimes you learn.
Yeah.
That's something I try to apply even to myself because many times things won't work. Whatever the thing, personal life, with the work, in the talking, in the kitchen, wherever. But you will learn something. And if everything in your life by chance, or you're super lucky, everything goes super well, you probably are missing some lessons on life. Okay, so when you fail, like after, I don't know, 10 years of continuous luck, okay, don't be overstressed, because that has been happening to the rest of the population all the day, and they learn a lot and nothing happens. So there is always another day after today. Okay, so you can try again, even fail again, and learn again if needed. That's what I said.
Perfect power message. So with that, I just say, Ignacio, it was really an enormous pleasure. I always had it heartfelt, for you. You're a really good friend, and I always have, this good moment of when we work together. I mean, for me, it was invaluable time, and I always carry that with me all my life. Believe me. Congratulations on all your achievements where you are today. You have very significant position in big company, and the value that you're sharing with your colleagues and all you're doing for society. I'm very proud of you, and I wish you always all the best. And like you said, next time I go to Madrid, for sure, we're gonna make it burn.
For sure. Count on that. Every note that knows me, you know that I work in one way and I party in another way. Take care, my friend.
Take care.
Looking forward to seeing you, Madrid.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Everyone, bye bye. Bye bye.